On today's show, it's all about waiting for hot water and when it's time to replace your water heater. I'm getting ready to start plumbing. I'm Richard Saad.
I'm John Eccles.
Today's topic is about the problem of the aging water heater.
That's right, Richard. We're talking about what happens when your reliable old water heater starts showing signs of age, and whether it's worth spending money repairing it or if it makes more sense to replace it.
If you can brush your teeth, fold laundry, and check your Facebook before your hot water shows up, we need to have a talk about your water heater.
I know that's right.
Yeah.
You know, why is it suddenly taking so long to get hot water at my tap in my home?
Couple things could be happening. It could be sediment buildup. You've used the hot water out of the tank capacity,
Okay.
right? If the sediment's taking up, let's call it gallons, right?
Right.
You don't have the capacity anymore. Sediment could be actually in the faucet. And
Okay.
if sediment's actually in the faucet, your hot water is running slower. Your hot water side is running slower,
Right.
which then it's going to take longer for that delivery of the water to that faucet.
If it's an electric water heater, maybe one of the elements could be out.
Yeah.
Right, that
That's
could contribute to
one.
it, right?
If you have an electric, right?
Right.
Typically, electric water heaters have two elements.
Yeah.
Top and a bottom.
Right.
If one of those are out, one of them's still working, it's not going to have the recovery
Right.
of the hot water in that tank that's needed, right? So you might be getting lukewarm water. It might take even longer for it to get to you.
What about larger houses with long runs of water lines? Would that contribute to any of that?
Absolutely.
Right.
Right.
That'd probably be the number one thing, honestly. If we're talking about timing of hot water to faucet, right?
Right.
If you got a long run with no recirc, which we'll cover recirculation here in a little bit, but with no recirculation pump or line, that's definitely a game changer when it's talking about timing and having Facebook time before you get in the shower.
That's exactly right. The big thing is about the sediment. If you're not doing maintenance on your water heater, you're not draining it once a year.
Yeah.
From that standpoint, that sediment is filling up that tank.
Right.
People have no idea how disgusting that is. I mean,
If they opened it up and saw
it looks so bad, and that's the water you're drinking.
Yeah.
You would be amazed how bad it looks. And how much it can actually fill that tank up.
Yeah.
So if your unit's 10 years old, right, it's going to look, of course, a lot different from brand new.
Oh, for sure.
Right? You've got 40-gallon tank. How many gallons do you have left after 10 years?
Yeah. That
That's the question.
Yeah, how much sediment's really stacked up in there. Well, you know, what are some signs that your water heater may be on its last leg?
I would say rusty water,
All right.
popping noises. Like, have you guys ever heard that? You know, most of our tanks are up in the attic, right? And then all of a sudden you start hearing popping. And what is that popping? That is like rocks that's in your tank now. The burner assembly comes on, it's very hot, and it starts popping like pop rocks.
Yeah.
And it's popping them away from this burner assembly.
Right, yeah, it's basically the sediment sitting on the bottom getting heated up, right?
That should be the telltale sign that, oh, I should get rid of this.
Or hey, or just maybe cold water.
Yeah.
You're just not getting any hot water at all.
That's exactly right. I mean, that's the telltale sign, but maybe you should think it's time to replace that unit before it has a leak.
So, would you say that here in Houston, do we see more electric or gas water heaters?
I would say over 80% gas.
Right. On those units, which components most likely go out first?
Well, there's a couple things. There's an ano rod.
Okay.
And that is a rod tube that goes down to the bottom, right?
Right.
And it grabs certain things out of the water.
Right.
And when this tube, when this rod, let's call it, goes out, it's going to create the water to smell.
Okay.
And it's going to create a rotten egg type smell.
Okay.
That's when you know that's out.
Okay.
Then the second part of it is you're just not getting the hot water that you need out of it anymore.
Right.
It's depleting quicker than what it used to.
Is the anode rod, is it replaceable? Is it a repairable component?
Replaceable.
Okay. What about how long, compared to the tanks? I know that we got a tank, a burner assembly, and a gas control valve, right? That's kind of the three major components for your gas water heater. Tank lasts the longest?
Versus?
The burner assembly or gas controller, do they all kind of last the same amount of time?
Same. You'll see the burner assembly go out first sometimes before the tank goes out. So really what happens with the tank, most of them are glass lined, but they've got threaded connections. And that's where the thermostat's going through to read the temperature of the water to tell the burner how much to fire up and when to fire up, right? Then you've got what they call a temperature and pressure release valve. Well, that's screwed into the tank. Well, those rust over time. So it could be one or the other. It could actually have a catastrophic break, meaning it got a hole in that line that's through, and your house gets flooded. Or sometimes that burner goes out, right?
Wow. Okay. What would you think is currently, I know that things aren't built like they were years ago.
No.
What's the current lifespan, would you say, on water heaters?
You and I were talking about that. So we've got efficiency changes in air conditioning and plumbing. And it's really impacted air conditioners, and it's really impacted plumbing fixtures, right? Low flow, low this, everything's changed, high efficiency. Well, how do you achieve that?
Man, manufacturing has to do something, right?
Yeah.
You know, especially on the bigger components, they remove items, which takes a little bit of that girth out of the manufacturing process, so things tend to not last as long. Now, they're more efficient, don't get me wrong, they're more efficient. Hey, they burn less gas, they do this, they do that, higher SEER ratings, but they just don't last as long as the old model.
Everything's thinned out.
Yeah.
The only way to achieve efficiency is thinned out or the motors they use. Right?
Yep.
Water heaters, that's happened to water heaters. I would say today, 7 to 10 years, lifespan on a tank. We used to go 15, 20.
Yeah.
It's a lot different these days. And the challenge and the problem is, what's the close to the number one thing that floods homes?
Water.
Water.
I hope.
And where does it come from?
Water heater.
Yeah, pretty much. Nobody knows that, right?
Yeah.
You've got roof leaks, but usually those aren't catastrophic.
No. Yeah,
you know, it's the water heater can be catastrophic, and it's in your attic.
100%.
You want to make sure, even if it's working right in year number 10, I would feel better throwing it away and getting another one.
Yeah, that would be proactive, right? Yeah, we've talked about that in the past. We're definitely much on the more proactive approach than reactive.
And in saying that, let's talk about my house for a minute. I got extremely lucky. My water heater ended up being in the garage, which most of them are not.
Right.
And, you know, I live close to the heights. I don't have a big garage, small garage, water heater's in the back. I came home from work exhausted one day, worked a full day, and I'm getting home like at 7 p.m. And there is water screaming down my driveway. I'm talking a lot. I had a catastrophic failure on my tank. And I was so tired, mentally exhausted. I walked in the garage. My garage was holding that much water.
Oh, wow.
And I walked in and I just shut down my water heater, and I went and flipped channels and was done for a while. Didn't want to deal with it.
Deal with it tomorrow.
No, deal with it tomorrow. But if that had been in my attic, my entire home would have been flooded.
Yeah.
No question. It got a huge hole that when it popped, it popped.
Well, then let's talk about this. When would we, obviously that we're going to know the answer to this. Repair versus replace. When is it time to move on versus keep and hold?
I think that's to the individual owner on the time of how they feel is correct. I would tell you what I would do. You know, if my unit was 6, 7 and it went out, and let's just say the burner went out, right? And I've got to replace that, which is between a $500 to $800 item, depending on which unit you have. Yeah. Do I want to focus and put my money into that when I know it's towards the end of life, or do I just want to go ahead and buy a whole new one? My mentality is buy a new one, right? And get the longevity out of it. I'm going to spend more today, but if you look at those dollars and extrapolate that over 10 years, right? That's what we always talk about.
Yeah.
I'm not buying for today.
Right.
I'm getting 10 years out of it.
Okay.
So if I take 10 years divided by the cost, am I winning?
So you're doing some sort of calculation. Hey, is it efficiency, age, kind of monetary kind of thing, right? Hey, is it, am I going to get the years out of my money versus the money out of my years kind of thing?
Right.
That makes sense to me, right?
So if I go spend, let's say $600, $700, $800 on a repair, right? How long? And it's already 7 years old,
right?
And this thing is going to break in
3
any day.
Yeah.
I mean, any day this thing could get a hole in it.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that's a catastrophic failure.
I think that's how we kind of would recommend it to our customers too, right? When they ask us those kind of questions, we always kind of walk them through the line. Typical water heater, 7 to 10 years. Yours looks like this. This is kind of what it's looking like. It's in good shape, bad shape, whatever that may be, and versus the cost of that repair versus the replacement, right? And then of course we always let them make the decision, but we can always kind of tell them what our thoughts are on that. If you got a good looking water heater, and it's only got a minimal problem, anode rod maybe only, and it's 6 years old, and it looks like it's going, maybe it's worth that repair.
Yeah.
But maybe you got a 5-year-old one that's never been maintained at all, and it looks crummy, and it's really on its last leg. You're like, you might want to think about, so you don't have that Richard problem, water this deep in your garage, right before it happens. But
what do you think the percentage of homeowners are that actually maintenance their water heater?
I can tell you from our experience, it's probably 10% or less.
Oh, I think I'd say you're generous.
On tank style, for sure, right? And we're about to jump into this, but yeah, tank style water heaters, it might be less than 5%. It's out of sight. It's an out of sight, out of mind appliance that's never looked at and never looked. I mean, it's just Before I got into the profession, I never knew where the water heater was in my house.
Yeah, most people
would.
Yeah, most people do not.
So let's talking about that, tank type versus tankless. Who wins the race to the tap?
It's a good question. So then the next question I would ask you is, if you have a tank or a tankless that's positioned in your home, right? Currently, we're going to do a replacement.
Okay.
And you've got 100-foot worth of hot line going to your master bathroom.
Okay.
Do you think there's going to be a difference on who wins the race to that faucet?
Depending on the model, right? So here's the difference in my thing, and I think this is a no-brainer, right? And I'm cheating a little bit because I'm a professional at this and I kind of know, right? But a lot of no tank water heater comes with recirculation. None. Tankless has the option for it, right? Built in. Don't get me wrong. So knowing that, I would say tankless is the best way to go with the recirc already built in. Now you can always add recirculation to the tank type afterwards, right? Which that's what Richard's leading to, I believe, is that no matter the run is the run. So if you don't have recirculation, neither one of them matter.
Doesn't matter.
The biggest advantage to tankless, if there's no recirculation, is that you never run out of hot water. Never. You can turn on the hot water tap. It's going to stay on forever. There's no recovery. It's going to burn, 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 burn. Tank, you're going to have so many gallons before the recovery process starts. I think in the first hour of most 50 gallons, you get somewhere in between the 70-gallon range of hot water. Whereas your tankless, you can run it for 1,000. It doesn't matter, right? But without recirc, you're not getting any faster. You definitely got to have the recirc to have that get there quicker.
That's correct.
Right? And that a lot of people don't know that.
I want to iterate something that you said, talking about, the tankless is endless hot water.
Yeah.
It's not
instant.
Instant hot water. It's endless.
Yeah.
So if you've got a 3-bathroom home, hypothetically, right? Some people have that, some people don't. But let's say 3 showers, right? And you have 3 people in those showers. You will never run out of hot water.
Never.
You will be delivered hot water, and you can stay in it 24 hours and have all those showers running.
Yep.
Now, a tank, you get 3 showers running. There is going to be a finite time that you can be in that shower before it turns cold.
Someone's going to be screaming sooner or later.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. Somebody's not going to be happy at some point, and you're going to get delivered cold water at some point. Really, that's the difference between the two.
Yeah.
So tankless water heater is endless hot water. It's not instant hot water.
Right.
That's where a lot of people make a mistake. Tank is not endless hot water. You will run out at some point.
Yeah.
Right?
And I'll give you my rundown on what. So we get this a lot. What would you recommend? What would you prefer? What's the right situation, tank versus tankless? I'll give you my punch list. Okay, tank style is tried and true, but it has limitations on how much it can give you. Right? Tankless is endless hot water. Right? Now, tankless needs a little bit more maintenance than the tank. It takes a little bit more. Tankless will last, if properly maintained, up to like 25 years, sometimes 30. Your tank is pushing 10, right?
Rule of thumb is you're supposed to buy 2.5 tanks to 1 tankless.
That's right. That's a great rule.
That's the rule of thumb.
So that's huge. Tankless is less costly to operate because you're only paying for fuel whenever it's needed, whereas your tank is having to heat up throughout the day, right? A big one that I hear from some customers, power outage. If we do have a power outage, your tankless is operating on a power circuit board. So you do have to have some sort of battery backup or some sort of backup system if you want to use it in a power outage, right? But other than those are kind of my hit and misses on both sides. So when you say which one works best for me, I think what are your hot buttons? What are the things that you really want out of your hot water heater versus the other? Now, if you're wanting fast hot water, you can get either one of them, and we'll recirculate either way. Meaning we'll put recirculation on either one of them to get the water to the tap as quick as possible, right? And a lot of times we see that recirculation probably drop by what? Half, if not faster. Right?
That's exactly right.
Water heater installations are definitely not a DIY project, right? And in professional installation absolutely matters.
It does.
Explain that. Why is that important?
It is illegal for anybody to touch your water heater besides a plumbing company, right?
Okay.
And I think there's a lot of issues, and especially around our area, Heights, Montrose, Westview, you get a lot of guys running around. They actually have a license, a plumbing license. Right. But here's what people don't know. If you have a plumbing license, it's still illegal to do plumbing. Right. You have to have a company behind you to be able to do plumbing. Right?
Right.
So even though I have a master's license, you have a master's license.
Correct.
You and I cannot go out and do plumbing. We have to have a company behind us to do the plumbing. Right? We have to be associated with a company.
Correct.
And there is a lot of people running around our area installing these illegally.
That are either not a master, maybe a journeyman. Maybe,
it doesn't matter what license they have.
It doesn't matter. Yeah, they're just not back the way they should be.
It's still illegal.
Yeah, that's true. Correct.
It has to be a company, and it has to be a plumbing company, right, that installs your unit. And a guy without a license is called a handyman.
There you go, right.
A guy with a license that's doing it illegal is still called a handyman.
Right.
And if he floods your home, if he does something wrong, a lot of times these insurance companies will not pay for it.
That's right.
Because they want to subrogate against us.
That's right.
That is a big thing with these companies.
No.
We've had so many letters. We've probably had 5 insurance companies want to subrogate and have us pay for something we didn't even do.
Yeah. And that happens.
But they want to be able to go after companies like ours, and it happens a lot.
And I'll tell you another thing, especially in the tankless world, right? Tankless water heaters are much more sophisticated than your tank option, right? They have circuit boards. They have...
In other words, they're more finicky.
Oh, man. Oh, for sure.
You got to know what you're doing.
Oh, yeah. So with that, I was going to say the trained professional installation becomes even more important because you have something that has to be almost, what's the word I'm looking for? Oh, goodness, it trapped onto my tongue. It has to be optimized for your home. Yes. So they got to know how to go in there and not only install it to the T, but then go in and set everything up for your application.
And here's the biggest thing, you guys. You have to understand gas pressure. All gas pressure works on math.
Yeah,
right?
100%.
It's extremely important that you know how to do math on gas pressure.
Yes.
Or you could get a catastrophic failure, meaning your unit might break or it might pull gas from something else that needs it.
Yeah.
And that's not good. And I hate to say this, but our industry, they can't do math anymore.
No.
And so the homeowners are blaming these tankless water heaters for failure. No, it's not. It's an installation. It's the guy that you hired to do it is creating the failure.
Yeah, and we see that a bunch, right?
A lot.
Hey, we fixed a bunch, right? I mean, it happens, But I think wrapping up, right? I mean, if your water heater is getting slower, louder, or even leaking, right? If it's leaking, call now, right? But it's trying to tell you something. It's trying to tell you something. Please listen to it, right? Give us a call, 713-868-9907. Let Nick's come out. Let us guide you in the right direction and get you taken care of on that. Whether you want to go tank or tankless, the key is getting what's right for you in your home. We can do it all, right? Remember, professional installation is not a bonus. It's a requirement. It's a must. You definitely want to get that so you keep the warranty in place, maximize your efficiencies, and keep your floors dry, right? And if you're not sure whether to replace or repair, again, call Nick's, man. We'll get you taken care of.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly right, John. And again, we're always here. Nick's does not give us a vacation. So if you guys need help, we're here for you. Give us a call.
Until
next time, right?
That's perfect.
Till next time.